As a student, did you ever feel discriminated in the classroom?
I did sometimes by the other students that were a little bit more advanced than I was. They seemed to, whenever we would read or whatnot, kind of laugh at you if you mispronounced something or you didn't know a word and what it meant, or when you were called upon and didn't know how to reply to the teacher, and you would kind of sometimes go from throw a Spanish word in there as part of your answer. And but I in turn use that as motivation to learn the appropriate way to do stuff and pronounce stuff and use in proper context. So I use the other people other people's making fun of me as motivational tool.
Very good. Were there other classmates in your school that did not fare as well as you did?
Oh, definitely. There's a lot of people. Like I said, I was fully immersed in about the first grade into just English only learning or teaching. And there was some kids that I know it took them till maybe even junior high at times to where they actually grasped it. And I think the reason being too is like some of them, instead of I used motivation was the way I turned around people making fun of me. I just got motivated. While others, they kind of went into a shell. Therefore, they didn't want to learn. They figured they were never going to learn anything, so they kind of just learned the English language at a much slower pace.
Could you elaborate on some of the techniques that you felt helped you the most in school and grasping the English language?
Sesame Street. A wonderful tool. It still is. A lot of TV. And then I remember just playing games in school with teachers, and they were making learning fun as far as English, and not just writing on the chalkboard and constantly repeating, you pronounce it this way, this is a verb, this is a noun, blah, blah, blah. They would try to make it fun. So I always think that making learning fun will, help kids learn. At least it did me.
All right. Could you summarize the state of the ESL programs when you were in school and your thoughts on the current state of the ESL programs in schools today?
I think both then and more so now, just the student-to-teacher ratio is just unbelievable. I can remember in the Spanish-only class there was, I would say, 30 students to one teacher, and I'm sure those numbers have not gotten down, especially here in Arizona and a lot of the southwestern states that have a high Hispanic population. I'm just hoping that they get more resources, more teachers aides to help these kids out, because it's an important issue. It needs to be done, or else we're just going to have a lot of people that aren't competent in the English language. Therefore, it's going to affect society in the future.
If you were a teacher today, what are some techniques you'd use to reach ELs?
I would definitely, the first and foremost is I would get more parent involvement. Although my parents didn't speak English very well, they weren't educated at all by any means. They always tried to make time to go to the parent-teacher conferences, and they always would give the green light to any teacher that if I were to act up or not pay attention or do my homework, that they always had the authority to take their belt off and give me a couple of licks. So I think fear from that regard helped me out as well, but they just need to start incorporating technology as far as TV, computer, video games into the classroom, just to keep people interested, because even though kids don't understand these days how important it is to learn everything properly, teachers have to somehow make it fun for them to where they're thinking they're not only learning, but they're actually having fun as well.
Has everyone in your family had the same success as you in school and with the English language?
No, I still have cousins my age that are still, their primary language is Spanish, and they went to school. A lot of them did not graduate. I would say there's about 8 college graduates and I don't know, I would say maybe 80, 100 cousins and aunts, uncles. So that's not a real good statistic. And I think the reason being that a lot of them went through the trouble, and some, like I mentioned earlier, some people, when they get made fun of, they just hide into a shell and just don't want to even continue learning whatever topic or whatever they're learning at the time. And I myself turn that into motivation, while others, I can see how they can just feel ashamed and just not even bother learning anymore.
Are there any teachers you remember fondly that helped you throughout the school process, or even maybe hindered your learning ability?
I don't recall anyone in particular. I just remember that there were more. I did have a lot earlier on teachers that were, some of them were impatient. Therefore, I thought that they didn't want to helped me learn, but that just, like I said, just motivated me more to learn on my own or ask questions from fellow classmates that were a little bit more advanced or whatnot. But I just think, you know, a lot of them, they truly wanted to help me, and you know, unfortunately, some of them just not as patient as others. But I don't consider them any less of good teachers than the ones that had more patience, because you know, you have to, in my scenario, you have to teach 30 students. You can't just worry about one person.
As always, Mr. Ortorno, I know I butchered your name. You will always be in my 10 most fascinated people. I appreciate you taking the time from your busy schedule and sitting down with me to talk about this subject. You are a success story and a role model for so many. Now, as a send-off, could you please tell our viewers at home who is a better golfer in your native language?
It was a pleasure to do this interview, and I hope it helps future teachers and future students. And I believe you are talking about El Tigre del Bosque.
I don't know what that means, but I hope you picked me, Pound. Thank you again.